In today's episode, Kat asks, if a college student asked you the number one thing they should be focusing on when it comes to social media, what would you tell them? Well, I would say social media is a really big topic. From a business perspective, it encompasses advertising, marketing, public relations, sales, customer service, investor relations, analyst relations, media relations. In other words, it's pretty much the entire communication spectrum. If you think about how businesses communicate with other people and all the roles and functions within business, that's what social media does. Social media is it's a channel, it's a distribution method. It is an entity that spans multiple departments because it's a way to communicate in the same way that mail is and the telephone is. And so asking somebody like, "What's your telephone strategy?" sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? It's like, well, I mean, maybe back in the late 1800s, somebody actually did say, Western Liniment, which was the first company in 1868 to offer a money-back guarantee, and it was Watkins Liniment. Watkins Liniment, what's your telephone strategy? I mean, it does sound a little weird today, but the general concept is, because this is a communications method, there isn't a thing to learn in it. You have to learn. You have to take your understanding up a level. So what should that college student be focusing on? If you got 4 years, 2 to 4 years, depending on what program you're in, maybe longer if you're going for a master's degree, you need to first learn how business works. That is the most important thing, which is strategy, tactics, operations, finance, accounting. How does a business operate and function? Because if you don't know that, you're going to be completely ineffective at understanding what your stakeholders want when you get handed a social media job. So getting a bachelor's degree in business administration, probably not a bad idea. Or at least taking some business admin courses. If you just flat out can't, or it's a little too late and you're graduating, you just got the cap and gown, pick up a copy of a book series called The Pocket MBA. This is a fairly large book, but it's a really good introduction to understanding how a business works. Second, social media is about people, which means you need to understand how people work in order to be effective in social media. So there are 3 fields that you should really take a look at. Psychology and how people use their brains to think about things and how people react. Linguistics, because a substantial portion of social media is still how we communicate using words. Even when we're using photos and videos and stuff, I'm still talking. So this is not pantomime. This is not just pure images alone. And so the understanding language and linguistics is important. And the third is neuroscience. How does the body react? How does the mind react? How do things work inside the human that give you guidance about social media? For example, we have evolved to recognize, using our visual apparatus, the human face. It's one of the first things we notice. If you take any photo and just pay attention to it, you will visually lock onto the people's faces first. That's just how we've adapted and grown as a species. So if you understand how business works, and you understand how people work, then you can dig into social media. And then there's 5 areas within social media you should be paying attention to. One is strategy, and that levels back up to business strategy. The second is the creation of content. Learn how to create content. The written word, the spoken word, the visual, interactive, virtual, whatever the methodology is of the day. Learn how to create content for the channels you're going to be participating in social media. If you're and that a good part of that, by the way, involves research, understanding your audience and what your audience consumes, how they consume it, and how they feel about things. I'm in the middle of a project right now where I have like a list of 400 different words describing emotions, because I want to see how people feel when they talk about things. The next step is distribution, which is how do you publish content in social channels, what the most effective ways to do so. After that is activation. How do you get people to pay attention to what you publish? Through paid, through influencers, through outreach, through public relations, getting people to take your content, and as Mark Schaefer says, ignite it, accelerate it, get it out in market. And finally, how do you measure your efforts to know that what you're doing is working, but also how it ladders up to the overall business objectives and strategies? That going right back to that first objective, which is how business works. You may be creating a great amount of wonderful content that's getting terrific engagement and lots of positive reputation, but if you can't provide any kind of connection to a business outcome, it's going to be a rough ride for you in a little while. So for college students, for new professionals in social media, for folks who maybe are transitioning from another part of marketing into social, that's what you got to do to be effective. And to Kat's question, there is no number one thing. There's a whole bunch of things that you need to know in order to be effective in social media, or in marketing, or in business in general. And it's that long list of stuff. So good question, interesting question, because in a lot of cases, people are looking for a very quick answer. Oh, you should just learn Facebook. Well, that's true-ish now, but YouTube is technically bigger than Facebook, and it's a video channel. Or you should just learn YouTube. Well, Instagram's got 1 billion daily or 1 billion monthly viewers now, and so, but the way people behave on it is completely different. There is no easy answer. There never is. If it's worth doing, there's never an easy answer for it. So take that into account as well when you're asking for advice, when you're giving advice. It's not going to be easy to make this stuff work well. It's going to take time and study and practice to make it work effectively for your business and for your career. Great question, as always. If you have additional questions, please ask. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and newsletter, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. If you want help with your company's data and analytics, visit braintrustinsights.com today and let us know how we can help you.